Welcome to the Sim Touring Car Cup. My name's Becky Rose. I'm standing in for Mike Johnson today, who can't make this race. And with me is Tristan Cliff, who's our main commentator for today. You're about to witness the premier simulated touring car championship in the world. Along with this commentated broadcast, the series also features a safety car, some of the strictest stewarding you'll see in any simulated championship anywhere, and of course multi-class racing.
Racing is designed to be split up into three classes to encourage close racing within each class, as well as the broader race for everyone. The classes are divided up into the cars, the front-wheel drive FXO, which is usually dominant on most of the races on tarmac tracks, the heavy four-wheel drive RB4, which dominates the autocross tracks, and the fast accelerating wheel-wheel drive XRT. In all the events, slick tyres will not be used. Everyone will be using more road-legal tyres. This is to reduce corner speeds and encourage a more close racing. There you can see the dominant car classes, the FXO and the midfield and backmarker classes, although much more evenly matched with the RB4 and XRT.
Today's race is taking part in the virtual environment of South City. We're using the Sprint 1 configuration, doing 33 laps, which should take us about half an hour. Tristan will now talk us around the track.
Down the start finish straight, keep to the right, brake at about 50-55 metres, turn in, just try and brush that barrier on the left, get out wide. Turn 2, Kenton Way. This is quite a nasty little corner, especially in the opposite configuration. You've got to try and take a little bit of curb on the inside, let the car drift to the outside, and then just let the car accelerate up the hill onto the overpass. This is the longest straight on the track, despite being the back straight. It's where you'll see most of the overtaking, drafting and out-braking manoeuvres into the following corner. Here you can see someone moving to the right, down the hill, and then at about 100 metres they've got to jump on the brakes, look at the skid marks where people have got it wrong throughout practice, try and avoid the understeer and drift out towards the red chevrons on the right, which is quite good for estimating your car's position. Then there's a little stretch which you try and keep as straight as possible and maximise the straight line for the braking into the final bend, station bend. Here it's quite a little curb on the inside, which is quite difficult to see, but on the outside there is a particularly vicious curb which you'll probably see mentioned once or twice throughout today's broadcast. Watch the drivers trying to straight line their braking, clipping the apex, quite an early turn and quite an early apex, and letting the car drift out wide, trying to maintain as much of the speed for the drag down the start-finish straight.
Cheers, Tristan. Now before we have a look at the feature race, let's see what happened in the heats earlier on today.
Round 1, Heat A. This was all about these guys. Green on the left in the MG coloured car, and Baker on the right. Ultimately, the race was won by Green, but it was a fantastic duel throughout the race.
This heat is for the front-wheel drive FXO class cars, which for today we had 4 entries with Redburn and Hep bringing up the last 2 slots. Round 1B was all about one single moment, one corner on the second lap. We're on board with Strobe looking ahead to Galask.
Galask clips that curve I mentioned on the right, and of course it puts his car on its side. Normally it's not so bad as this, he was particularly unlucky, but it did bring out our first ever safety car. Another view from up above, just the lightest grays, but it was just enough to flick the car up, and once he was stranded on his side, obviously that was retirement. Here is the safety car. Today it's the race bout. The results of Heat 1B led with Hovarth, Strobe, Islam and Galask taking up the top 4 positions. Heat 1C, however, was a bit of a different matter. Part race, part banger racing. Breaking into the final turn here, we can see that Sherborne is fighting his way back up. Dawes made a good effort at recreating Galask's accident, but this time he was lucky to land on all 4 wheels. But ultimately it was this chap, Arendz, who took the win.
Arendz is actually the world record holder for the RB4 around this track. These are the 4-wheel drive cars. Sherborne ultimately finished second after fighting his way up from 4th, with Dawes and Hopkinson's filling out the last 2 slots.
Round 2 was the first big grid of the season. 12 cars duelled it out, constantly swapping places, and with a little bit of argy-bargy, paint sharing, and a few broken panels at the end of the day. Green, pictured here in the green MG, took the honours with Hovarth the top XRT driver and Sherborne leaving the RB4s. That was Dawes being a little bit aggressive on his defence, pushed him into the side third spin, and that's confirmation of the results of Heat 2, which went on to the feature race. As you can see, the FXO is clearly the dominant car in the field, with the RB4 and XRT much more closely matched further down.
This is where it all begins, the 2006 to 2007 World Championship.
1 red light, 2 red lights, and it's go.
A little too much wheel spin there for Redmond. Sherborne makes an excellent start. We're on board with Strobe. We're looking at... Oh, that's Hopkinson.
Hopkinson just shooting off onto the left there. It's a bit of a collision to the start. Dustin Dawes has outbraked himself, but he doesn't seem to have lost much time. He's quickly found reverse gear and he's recovered. Jack's pulling out a lead already, but Sherborne and Navath are now side by side as they race up to the crossover. First is Green, second Sherborne and Navath, fourth Baker, fifth Galaskin Arens, seventh Redmond. Didn't happen to catch who was there. Green still out in front, but there's a bit of contact there between Sherborne and Navath, and that's Galaskin Arens really showing Redmond how to drive at the moment. But there's been contact. There's contact there. He's not really going to concede at this point, though.
Well, that corner just isn't wide enough for all 3 cars, because on the exit, the wall on the right-hand side protrudes into the track and obstructs the racing line.
Oh, that was a bit of nasty contact there. But Dawes has got past him safely, and now we're on to the second lap. Baker is attacking Sherborne on the outside. Will he make the pass stick? No, he doesn't, but he keeps place first from the person behind. Jack now putting out quite a big lead here, really showing everyone how to do it with the XRT in second, Sherborne in third, fourth Baker, Arens, and sixth is Redmond. He's made up another place.
That Baker is pulled alongside Sherborne for third. He's actually got the legs on him and he's in front. Baker has taken third place with Sherborne in fourth, and Arens has braked very, very late indeed. That's Arens braking. Oh, he's hit Baker, and he's coming back onto the racing line. He's clipped the back of him.
Arens contact with Baker. Baker spun. We've cut away. We don't see if he recovers. So now Sherborne and Redmond are left to fight over third. This has been an excellent start for Redmond, who was well down the field in the first corner. So this should be the end of the third lap now. Heavy attacking Strobe there for seventh. Quite a lot of tyre squeal into the first corner. Everybody's braking as late as they can, but obviously they've got quite a lot of fuel on board at the moment, so the cars are a bit heavier and a bit different to drive. Haywood run a little wide there, clipped the wall, but we've got Green in first, Navath second, Redmond, Sherborne, Arens, Galask, Strobe in seventh, Hep and Haywood down in ninth. Coming into the penultimate bend now. Who's that going for a manoeuvre? Oh my God, that's Hopkinson. He completely missed his braking point there. Did he take out the chap? No, he just about got away with it. So I think the clerk of the course will be looking at that after the race. Difficult to know. Everybody keeping away from that curb on the outside. Oh, here we have a replay. That was Strobe being clipped by Hopkinson, but Strobe seemed to get away with it. He only lost a bare minimum of time. Green pushing like hell. Really, the lead has started to stabilise now. Sherborne and Arens side by side into the first corner, battling for third now. But it looks as though Chris is up to second, and perhaps no, he's still in third, but he's starting to catch up now with Green, I think, by the looks of it. So it won't be many laps before he's right up behind Green and really pressuring him into a mistake if he keeps it up at this rate. Maybe Green is looking after his tyres. Bit of contact there, braking in there for...
It was Arens trying to pass Sherborne for fourth place.
Green breaking down to the last corner. It's starting to get a little bit twitchy now. I think he's starting to overdrive. He's probably overheating the tyres a little bit. Redmond...
I've got to interrupt you, Tristan. That was Arens taking fourth place from Sherborne around the outside of Stadium Bend.
Baker's working his way back up the grid. He's now passing Hopkinson, who was the chap who made that desperate move. This is Redmond attacking Horvath for second place. He was on the outside. He's got him on the switchback now. That's a great bit of driving there from Chris Redmond. But will he ever come back up? He might be able to drag up the straight behind him, but he's not getting in the tow. There he goes. He's back in the tow now. Maybe he'll be able to fight back into the at the end of the crossover. He's having a look. He really should have waited perhaps a little bit longer before moving out, but will he make it stick? He's going to have to brake really quite late now to beat the FXO, because the FXO is just very, very quick round the corners. But it looks to me, before he went out of shot, as though he made it. Hopefully we'll see. The director is showing us a replay of a little small crash there, but it looks as though he got away with it. Horvath did make the pass stick, and he's kept the place back into turn 1 now. Chris Redman went like that. He was really looking to make the pass stick, and he's probably desperate now to get on the back of Green. He's pretty much proved that he's got the pace to stay ahead, but he still hasn't made the pass yet. We're now a further lap down. Things are probably getting a bit heated between those two now. Green's probably pulling out a bit of a lead. These two are going to be slowing themselves up, but it looks as though Chris has got a good run out of Kenton Way, and he'll probably be alongside. No, he hasn't got alongside, so he's going to try and tuck back in. He might be able to get a little bit of a tow, maybe it's late braking. There you just caught a glimpse of the, well, that visual proof of the Green now has. These two really are starting to hold themselves up, but Chris can't get past him at the moment. Green into the last corner, looking a little bit tidier now. He's obviously feeling a bit more comfortable with the lead he's built up, but Redmond still can't get past there with Horvath really proving his worth as a racer. He's got a much slower car around this course, but he's put the car exactly where he needs to at the moment. Baker still can't, Chris Redmond still can't do it. Oh, he's a bit of a nerf there at the apex, but I'm sure the favour will be returned when he gets past, and he's starting to squeeze in now. Hopefully this should be probably the pass. It's going to be down the straight now. They're both about the same speed out of the course, out of the last turn. Sorry, this has got to be the pass. But they've touched. Redmond's just touched Horvath, but Horvath, will he recover? I think that was a little bit cheeky of Redmond, if I was him. But that's caused Lorenz to catch up, but hopefully Redmond will let him regain the place, otherwise the steward will start having a close look. And it looks as though Green's now built up something like an 8-second lead with that mistake. Fifth, Sherborne, Galaskin, Hep. Another close battle. Further down the field, not quite clear. Venz lines up Horvath. Chris Redmond hasn't sort of given the place back, so I would imagine that the stewards will be having a bit of a look at that, as it was quite clearly his fault for getting a bit too close under braking, but then Horvath did try to squeeze him a little bit, but he's well within his rights to do that. So this is lap 8, and we've got first Green, second we've got Redmond, then we've got Horvath and Lorenz fighting for third. This could be the pass. Beautiful pass. That's how Chris really should have done it earlier. Doesn't get much better than that. No contact, and a bit of a fight now for 5th, 6th and 7th, I think that is. But this is the race of the closer to the front, at least, of a bit of contact there, but they got away with it. And Sherborne and Galas touch as well. That corner really is nasty. Everybody's so fearful of touching that curve on the outside that they just don't want to make room at the apex, because if you do that, you've got no chance. So things are starting to settle down now. We've got a little bit of sort of sense to make, I would imagine. The race will be starting to settle down now. People will be start thinking about conserving their tyres, getting used to the little bits of damage in the car from the opening laps, which were quite scrappy, but at the same time they were quite entertaining. No doubt we'll get more of this in future championship rounds.
Perhaps now's a good time to mention that you can get post-race analysis at www.simtouringcarcup.com.
Everyone's driving quite cleanly, giving all the walls a little bit of room now, a bit of respect. It's getting later on in the race. People really are starting to think about the finish rather than the desperate points bid. This is Sherborne, Galaskin, Hebb, still fighting, still very close to each other. Every so often a couple of them pull away, but then hold themselves up, and it catches back up again. He's not close enough now, but he's just moving across to show himself in the mirrors, trying to distract the car in front. I don't think that tactic will work. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts flashing his headlights at some point or something, to try to cause a little bit of distraction, trying to force a mistake ahead. There he's showing himself in the wing mirrors, just to let him know he's there. Here we are, back up towards the front a bit. gap at the front is closing. Chris Redman is definitely catching up Green, but we haven't been able to see that yet. This is Redman, here we are. You can just see him giving lots of room to that curb on the outside. You don't gain a lot of time by doing it, and you could really ruin your race by pushing your luck there. But Barker, he's recovering from an earlier spin. He's caught Strobe, so that seems to be one of the major battles of the track at the moment. Here they are, side by side out of the last corner, with Strobe on the inside. He's breaking down into the first corner, but he keeps his place. Will we get the switchback? No, he covered it, and there was just a little nudge as he was trying to anticipate the switchback. This is now lap 11 of 33. Nose to tail, he's got a really good toe here. He's going to be moving out now. He mustn't overcook himself because he can just destroy his tyres. Strobe's defended his line well, but he knows when he's been beaten. But he's going to drive around the outside. He's going to stay in all the way around the outside, and he's kept ahead by the looks of it. He's got a nose ahead, but he's on the outside now for the final turn, station bend. But it was enough. He braked a bit later. He went round the outside, and he's kept ahead. That's great driving by Strobe. But now he's slowed himself out of the last turn, and we're back to square one now.
That was some stunning driving by Strobe to be able to hold Baker off all the way around the outside of that entire section and to keep the position.
But this time the switchback might be happening. Strobe didn't cover as well this time. He's on the outside through Kenton Way. But there's big contact, major contact there. Strobe spun right round, but I think Baker might have got away with it. He would have only lost a few seconds, but Strobe's really going to be quite cross. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that soon in a minute. We need to see a replay. Here he is. He gets the switchback. Strobe seems to be giving him room, but then tries to take his line. Baker loses a little bit of rear traction and just seemed to clip them. So it was a little bit of a racing incident there. I don't think there'll be too much intervention from the stewards afterwards.
I don't know if I completely agree with you, Tristan, because Baker hit the brakes as he went into the bend, and that's what caused his rear end to step out. You don't normally need to brake for that corner.
As you can see, there's now quite a big gap before second. There he is, Chris Redman. He's got a back marker in between them now, but I don't think he'll prove too much of a problem. Third Arends, fourth Varth, fifth Sherborne and Galask, as close as ever. This is Hopkinson getting it all messy, and he's hit the curb. You can just see what damage it does. His RB4 is going to be have a certain amount of damage, but this isn't going to stop Islam from attacking him. Hopkinson, will he try and defend, or will he use sense? He's got a newly damaged car. He doesn't know what it's going to be like under braking, but he's kept his foot in it. Which position? He drove all the way around. That's fantastic driving by Islam, and a little bit of sense as well from Hopkinson. Some very close racing going on further down the field. Everyone's still giving that curb a bit of leeway, because all it takes is the slightest. We've got a message from race control. Hopkinson is slowing. Apparently Hopkinson is slowing. We can't see that at the moment. We're watching this three-way dice further down the grid. The safety car's on standby because of Hopkinson. We haven't seen him yet.
Glasky's got a tow there from Sherborne. Glasky's going to make the move shortly as they come over the overpass. He's pulled out, and has he got the power to outpace that RB4 as they go into the junction? He's in front, and Sherborne's later on the brakes, and Sherborne keeps the place, and he's gone wide.
Safety car has been deployed. We've just heard the safety car is deployed. It's now on the screen. This is going to bunch the field right up, and it's going to completely nullify any advantage. That's Hopkinson there. He stopped out of the second. He just had too much damage. He tried to keep it going, but he realised it was just senseless. But now Green's lead has been destroyed by the safety car. Redman was just under 8 seconds behind, with the Arends a further 3 seconds behind. Havarth was in fourth, Sherborne was in fifth, Galask, Hep, Baker were the trio working round together. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back when the safety car pulls in. Welcome back. It's lap 19. The safety car's pulling in. The little respite will have allowed the FXO tyres to cool down, so the pace will be good. The safety car pulls out of the way, but the camera seems to be following him, and it looks as though Redman had got past the back marker. So Hayward misses the drop, but Chris Redman is now just only a few seconds behind, not even a second behind Green, who did get a very good restart there. A few people towards the back weren't prepared for the safety car coming in so suddenly. Bit of a battle there. Who's that? That looks like Galask and Hayward just made a bit of contact. Hayward a back marker. I would imagine that won't go down too well in race control, but Baker's made up 2 places already, so the top 4 seem to be lapping closely together at the moment, with a bit of a gap now down to 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. This is Green. You can see he started to pull out a little bit of a gap, but I don't imagine it'll last too long, as Chris really does have the pace to challenge. And back down below, the actions already seems to have settled down. Everybody seems to be line astern at the moment. But I can imagine that in a couple of laps. But as soon as I say that, Baker attacks Sherborne for 5th. Round the outside, down into turn 1, across the start-finish line, braking. Will he manage to do the switch back, which seems to be a very favourite manoeuvre? He's got his nose just tucked in, but will it last? We'll see them come out of Kenton Way onto the overpass. It didn't stick by the looks of it. So no change there then for 5th position. Down there, the back marker giving way. Hayward seems to be going rather slow, actually. So maybe he's got a problem. I don't know why he's got a problem. We haven't heard. I'll try and find that out soon for you. I think he's going to pull off the circuit. There he is, Hayward, number 83 in the XRT, going very slowly. He's pulled off the track now. He's behind the cone, so I don't think that'll be a safety car incident. Bit of a scrap going on there. This is the battle for 5th, with Sherborne, Baker in 6th, Galass 7th, Hep 8th, and Strobe joining in from a bit further behind in 9th place. Bit of a brushing into the wall, but it's the worst place to do it really, because that'll cost you miles per hour all the way down this straight, and so he's going to be open for a pass now. Someone's going to get a good tuck, and he'll probably try and dive up the inside. But further ahead, we've got a pass going ahead. He's good blocking now. He's moved across early, so he's going to force the driver to go around the outside, but he braked too late. That's not the way to make a move. He's clipped the wall. Sherborne's run wide. He's clipped the wall, but he's got back and he seems to have lost a place because of it. But this is Chris Redman now looking very, very close to Jack Green in the MG-powered FXO. Further back, Sherborne, you can see he's lost his place, which means Baker is now released, and you can see he's really starting to pull away now. That'll leave these 4 to battle it out. Green first, Redman second. I think there's going to be a battle really starting to heat up now in the next few laps. Possibly even the next few corners, judging by how close he is. Will he ever move from that far back? It would be a bit risky if he did. No, he's not even having a look yet. He's conserving his tyres, he's thinking about, he's just trying to analyse where Green's weaknesses are.
I've got some news on Mike Hayward's retirement. He pulled off because he ran out of fuel. He didn't put enough in at the start of the race.
Into the final corner, Chris Redman now closer than ever. He's in the ideal position. He'll take the toe down the back straight. He's actually had a little bit of a look, but he'll tuck back in behind now and try and make the most of it. Green will probably cover the inside into the first corner. This is Galass 6th and Hep 7th in the red car. Galass in the Subaru liveried car. There's a little bit of damage around the cars, which isn't surprising. The barriers are rather intolerant of poor control, and obviously there's been quite a lot of contact throughout the race, which has already brought out one safety car in lap 18. This is still the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Strobe making up 9th place, and Green's actually pulled away a little bit on this lap. Maybe Redman's had a little bit of a go and sort of cost himself. This is Sherborne defence against Strobe. Strobe wants to go around the outside. This is for 8th place. But further back at the front, Green's found his composure again. He's got a little bit of breathing room, but not enough to really back off at this stage. Further back you can see Arends there in third, Horvath fourth, and Baker now catching up very quickly since he's been released from the battle further behind. Galast and Hep have actually started to drift apart, and Strobe's back there in 9th place. He didn't make the pass stick.
It looks like we've lost Dustin Dawes from the race. It seems that he's had a technical problem and has lost his connection, so he's now out of the race and has retired.
So, braking now for the penultimate corner at the end. Little bit of a nerf there, and he's started to use his horn now. Redmond's clearly getting a little bit frustrated. I think that was Redmond. I can't see why Green would be hooting his horn when he's got the advantage of a lead. But it's all starting to get a bit scrappy. You can just see the little puffs of tyre marks on the track as they keep snatching wheels under brakes, desperate to find any advantage over the person in front or behind. Further back, this is the Sherborne, Hep, Strobe. That's Green up at the front. He's touched the wall. He's cost himself. But Redmond tried to go for it, just caught him, and so it's even Stevens again. Hopefully they won't have damaged the car too much on either case, and we can see this really fantastic battle, admittedly held by the safety car, continue. But onto the back straight, the slight slowing of Redmond from the contact seems to have worked to Green's favour. He's pulled out a little bit of a lead now, but judging by the recent pace, I think Redmond will catch it up. We're now on board with Redmond in the British Racing Team FXO. You can see now that the lead is visibly growing, and I will imagine now that Redmond will just drop back a little bit, nurse his tyres back to a slightly cooler temperature, and mount another attack before the end. He's got a few laps rest to go before he really has to mount his final attack. This is a replay of Bobby Islam losing it on Kenton Way. He got big oversteer moment, just not enough oversteer in the car, and he clipped the barrier, but it looks... Yeah, it looks as though he's accelerating back up to racing speed now, so not too much of a drama. Hopefully that won't slow him down too much, but I don't think he'll be a hazard in the remaining few laps, and it wasn't bad enough for the safety car. So Chris Redmond's now starting to drop back. Hopefully he's just nursing his tyres, but maybe he had a problem from that last little bit of contact. Perhaps a little bit of alignment problems. We've got the overhead view now from a following camera.
Just having a look through the sector timing, and Baker has just set the fastest first sector of the race. He is really charging now to try and catch David Horvath in 4th place.
Now as we start lap 28 and brake for the first corner, looks as though he's being a bit more smooth, a bit more controlled now. He's kept his head. He realises that he has got the pace to beat Redmond, and as long as he doesn't make another mistake, which we have seen from pretty much everyone today, I think he'll now keep that advantage. Redmond doesn't seem to have an answer for him, although the gap rather is pegged at about half a second, which you can see there. Braking into the penultimate turn again, the gap doesn't seem too different, and back in third it looks as though he's catching up now with these two, so they're obviously slowing themselves up, trying to conserve their tyres so that they've got an answer if one of them makes a move or makes a mistake. Going into the final turn, these two really aren't giving that exit curb too much of a miss. Jack's actually getting a bit leery on the exit of that turn, on the curb on the left, or down the start-finish straight. Someone's outbraked themselves, run a bit wide, couldn't see who that was.
It's Hep, the Hungarian driver in the WRC team, which is the Subaru type colour.
Chris seems to be closer, so that little leery moment on the outside curb seems to have been sort of a third of a second, and now Redmond's in the prime position to get a draft down here, perhaps, maybe not quite close enough, but this will give him renewed vigour into the closing stages of this race. He's just starting to move over in the braking zones. Just give Green something to look at in his rearview mirror, something to distract him, try and make Green miss a braking point. Go down here into the final turn. Actually starting to give that curb a little bit more respect. I think Redmond might be getting to the point now where he's even settling, because every time he gets close, Green has a bit of an answer for him. The camera's cut to here, so maybe it saw something we didn't just then, but This is now Sherborne. Hep seems to have got a poor exit out of the last corner, and Sherborne will be desperate to go down the inside now. There aren't many laps left, so any move, but he's given up. He didn't have the exit speed. He hasn't been able to outdrag him on the straight. But the switch back, without actually switching back, he's going for the move. He's going to dive down the inside here. Will there be contact? No, he's just kept it away, but it has forced Hep wide. So Sherborne and Hep now side by side down the overpass, or rather up the overpass. And I think Sherborne's got the advantage out of that corner, but it's difficult to say as we cut back to Green and Redman. Still line astern. Tyres really starting to screech now. They must really be starting to feel their age. No pit stops here, of course. Tyres are having to do this. Baker in 5th place is now caught up with Havarth, so having been released from the earlier battle with the 5-car battle earlier, about probably 10 laps ago now, I suppose. Sherborne managed to pass Hep. He made it stick, but it looks as though Hep might be having a little view. He might want that place back shortly. Further back, this would be lap 31 now. Havarth is very fast in a straight line, it seems. You can just see the superior. He's now alongside, going into the penultimate corner, braking about 100 metres just at the bottom of that underpass. Baker makes this cleanly through now. Green starting to get a little bit leery now. It looks as though not only are his front tyres, which would obviously cause understeer, but his rear tyres are really starting to give away there. There was a little bit of a hint of thought he was going to run wide then, but it turned out it was okay. It was under control. Further back, Strobe still sitting at the back of this trio. Maybe he's saving his tyres, pacing himself, maybe he just hasn't got the speed, but it looks as though out of this corner those two have held themselves up. We've now got the onboard camera, which is quite a good camera. You can just see the control move. Well, you would have been able to if we'd stayed with it any longer, but you could see the accuracy of the inputs required to drive these cars on the limits in the tight confines of South City. Green is still ahead of Redman. Little dab of brakes there into the corner. He's obviously having a few difficulties with the balance of the car, and he just hasn't got the pace now to really mount a serious challenge to Green. But Green's starting to get a little bit leery there. He's run wide, he hasn't clipped the apex as well. Got it all back together though for the exit of the corner. Didn't hit the curb, which would probably make him retire from the race. That curb really is very unforgiving. Some more action out of the final turn. This would be Strobe has got past Hep, it seems. Just last lap I was saying maybe he was conserving his tyres for a move later in the race, and that seems to be exactly what he is doing. Redman is really trying to distract him now, but he's too far back. I don't think Green's going to fall for little dummy moves like that from that range. It's about a third of a second now, the gap, about 0.3 of a second. But Green's run wide. Green's run very, very wide. He managed to not clip the exit there. There's a bit of contact, which has maybe saved Green's position. Redman, number 11, won't be too pleased with that. But Green's lost it under braking. They've touched. He's spun. Green's now in reverse, but Redman's nipped past. Green wasn't quick enough for the J-turn, and Redman takes the victory with Green second. I can't believe Redman won that. I really didn't think he had an answer for Jack's pace there, but Jack made a last little error, and Redman was right to try and distract Green, because it paid off in the end. Green just couldn't keep his concentration. This is a replay of that event. He gets it well out of shape under braking, and actually collected Redman because of it, but Redman recovered much quicker and was able to draw out a second or two lead by the finish line, which that's all Green's fault. I don't think he'll be punished for it because he lost out because of it. So the race winner of the first feature race of the South City the Sim Touring Car Championship at South City is Chris Redman. Green was a second behind at the end in the MG FXO, with a Renz third, 3 seconds behind. Baker fourth, fifth Havarth, sixth Galask, 14 seconds off the lead. Seventh was Sherborne, eighth was Strobe with that last ditch attempt in the closing laps, with Hep losing out and taking ninth. Islam was down in 10th, 51 seconds from the race leader, a big gap there with Dustin Dawes. He wasn't able to finish the race, after his outbraking mistake at the first corner of the first lap, and our two retirees of the race were Hayward and Hopkinson. Hopkinson was the chap who caused the safety car, which was the main reason in the end that Redman was able to win, because it closed up the field. So that's maximum points for Redman. Bit of a disappointment for Green, but hopefully there'll be much more of it to come, and I imagine this is going to turn into a little bit of a feud between the two of them. Maybe Renz will be able to do something about it, and Baker clearly had the pace, but was held up at the start and made a few mistakes early on. There's confirmation of the provisional results following. There's obviously got to be scrutineering after the event, and we wait to see what will happen, because there were a few incidents there that the clerk of the course will want to look at. Strobe there in 8th, with Hep really not utilising the performance of the FXO at this track in the same way that Redman and Green were able to do.